Hey, this is Joseph from Synergy 17, and I'm going to tell you about a little tool we have which is going to make laying out and resizing your rhinestone fonts a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to type the word font. I'm going to make a couple of these just to show you some different tricks. And I'm just going to pick a font. I'll choose that one for that font, and I'll choose another rhinestone font. So I have two fonts here, and they're, as you can see if I zoom in, they're both rhinestones. So what we want to do is, if you look at that, it's only 0.667 wide, which is really small. So what we did was we created a little tool called the S17 Rhinestone Font Resizer. And what we're going to use this to do is to make the fonts exactly the right size that we need. A stone size, that is. So for example, even though this is 0.667, I'm going to tell it I want it to be an SS10 size ready for cutting a template, and I hit Resize Font. And what it does, turn off wireframe so you can see, what it does is if I click on this, you'll see that it's exactly 0.127. So it's very easy to quickly take the font you want and change it to SS6s or SS8s or whatever size you need it to be, and resize it. And as soon as it goes through, changes everything. You have perfect 0.098 for SS6 stones. So it's a really quick and easy way. I'm going to undo both of these. Undo the other one too, just so you can see. And so here's something that's pretty cool. Another feature of this is that we could not only resize it. So for example, SS10, we'll do SS10 again. I'll resize that font. Let's say the customer, so right now at an SS10 size for the word font, it's 4 inches wide. Let's say the customer says they need it to be 5 inches wide. Well, what's going to happen is if I grab this until I get to about 5 inches, right around there, up here, 5 inches, the circles are no longer 0.127. So that's a problem. So what you could do is you could select that font, make sure to put on what size you want, and say replace stones, and it'll go through and it'll replace it with perfect 0.127 SS10 stones once more, but it'll leave it at your approximate value, almost 5 inches. So that's another little feature. So basically I could do the same thing here too. I could take this font, say I want SS6 stones, I could resize it, let it go through its thing. As soon as it's done, I can see what size the overall size is. It's 7.8. Say I want that to be an 8.5 inch wide design. Oops. Maybe let me do that so I have to adjust both of them. I could change this to 8.5, so it's proportionate. Well, it did. The problem is the stones are 0.106, which is no longer SS6. So you just take that, SS6, replace stones. It goes through and it replaces them all the ones that were, they were all stretched out, so now they'll all be 0.098. So if you zoom in, 0.098, so they're back to SS6, but you have that wider font, almost 8.5. So basically that's what it does. It's a really cool little tool, makes things a little bit faster. You can just type out your font and tell it what size stone you want it to be, and it'll resize it. So another feature that this has is some fonts aren't perfect. Some fonts aren't perfect circles. So for example, if I zoom in, you can see a lot of little messed up circles here. So they're circles, and your rhinestones might fit in it, but they're not perfect circles. So what you could do is you could do the same thing. I can highlight it and resize it, but what I really care about is it's 0.126. It's almost close to an SS10, but it's not a perfect circle, and my cutter's going to have a problem. I mean, that's going to have a problem. It's going to hit every little node and as it's cutting, and they're not perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight them all and just tell it to replace it, and it'll go through and replace them all. And if you zoom back in, you have perfect SS10 circles. See, they're all perfect circles, no longer misshapen. So anyways, that's just a quick overview of how to use this tool. You can find it at the S17 storefront. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks.